Hi everyone, it's V from Motherhood with Me and welcome to today's vlog, my 10 essential items for postnatal recovery. This was a really important video for me to film because I've really struggled with my own postnatal recovery, and that's actually what inspired me to set up this whole channel so that I could communicate with other mums, help to share any tips and share experiences, because it can be so tough, especially when you're in it. My first 12 weeks were really tough. They talk a lot about this magic 6-week recovery, but there was no way that I felt anywhere near recovered after 6 weeks. And I've discovered that that's really, really common. But there's this misconception that, by 6 weeks, you're going to feel back to yourself. I'm currently 16 weeks postnatal and I still don't feel, 100%, but things have improved so much from those first sort of 6 weeks where I was really, really struggling, and honestly lost hope that I was actually ever going to feel like myself again. This video isn't just for people who've had one type of birth, so it's not designed for people who've had vaginal births or cesareans, because honestly there's a real mixture in here of different products that can help you just to make life easier. Like, regardless of what kind of delivery you've had, you're going to be sore, you're going to be less able-bodied, so there's a lot of things in here that are just to make life easier. I did have a vaginal delivery with forceps, and that led to an episiotomy, which is a cut, and also a 2nd degree tear. So obviously that is the recovery that I went through, so there are products that are geared towards that. However, I'm not a doctor, and I dare say that a lot of the products that I used on my scar would be equally fine to use on a cesarean scar. Now, as I've said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, I'm also not linked with any of these products. This is just genuinely stuff that I used that helped me. Please always do your own research before using anything, to make sure you're happy and you're comfortable. But these are things that have helped me a lot. Quite a few of these items also aren't things that I had heard of or seen before, because there's a lot of discussion out there for postnatal recovery. Lots of talks about salt baths and lavender and tea tree and spritz for bits and all these things. They're not in this video. The things in this video are things that I genuinely used that helped me, that I discovered or was recommended, and generally quite a few of them aren't things I'd heard of in advance. Some of them are, and that's because obviously things are recommended for a reason, things become bestsellers for a reason, and some of the products definitely were sort of on those postnatal essentials lists I read before giving birth. But some of them were recommended to me since by midwives or by my physio that I've been seeing, and I hadn't heard of before. So I think we're ready to get started. Here are my 10 essential products to help you with your postnatal recovery. So the very first product I'm really excited to share. This is something that I had never heard of before. After reading pages and pages, like hundreds of pages on Mumsnet, I had not seen this product mentioned, and it was actually recommended to me by my physio that I've been seeing, so my women's health physio, and I've been seeing her about my scars, so my episiotomy and my tear. I've been having a lot of issues with scar tissue, so painful scar tissue, as well as my tear just not healing. So after 6 weeks, it hadn't really healed at all. By 12 weeks, it was still an open wound, which obviously, as well as being sort of really worrying and constantly on my mind, was also very, very painful. And honestly, I began to lose hope that it was ever going to heal, and was starting to think that I might have to have like a procedure to recut and restitch the area, which, as you can imagine, was the last thing I wanted to go through after giving birth. But my women's health physio recommended this product. I used it every day for about 6 weeks on both my episiotomy and my tear, and the difference in that time is incredible. So my episiotomy went from a really raised, lumpy, sore red scar to pretty much invisible, and my tear finally healed, and it healed without much scar tissue. And I really do think that this product is the reason that both scars improved so much. So the product is Medi Honey Wound Gel. And this was recommended to me, as I say, by my women's health physio. And this product, it's basically a medical grade honey, and it claims to promote healing. It coats nerves so it reduces pain. It creates an antibacterial barrier to prevent infection. And it also promotes growth as well as reducing scar tissue. So it promotes the healing of your tissues and reduces it becoming actual like nasty scar tissue. So that's all the things it claims to do, and obviously that's all the things I wanted with my wounds. So I didn't want it to get infected, I wanted it to heal, I didn't want nasty scar tissue. And I started using it on my episiotomy after that had healed, but with the horrible scar tissue, and this claims to reduce that. And as I say, my episiotomy scar is barely visible now. In fact, both are barely visible, and the tear took about 8 weeks longer to heal than the episiotomy did. And I really do credit Medi Honey for this. If you want to do your own research, it's actually on the Milton Keynes Hospital website. I'll link that in the description of the video, so you can just check out that it is sort of legitimately recommended by the NHS. And I got this from Convita, and there's two sizes. So this is the bigger one, even though it doesn't look very big. This is 50 grams, and this is the smaller one, and this is 25 grams. Now, I first ordered the 25 gram bottle because I didn't know whether I was going to like it or get on with it. This actually lasted me 6 weeks of using it every day, twice a week for the first week. So even though it doesn't look like much, you don't need a lot. It really does spread. So I'll just give you a quick look at what it actually looks like. So this is the honey. It is literally quite a thick yellow honey substance, and it doesn't hurt at all. It's quite waxy, and it's thick, and when you spread it out on the wound, it does feel quite thick and sticky. So that's it, just on the back of my hand there. But it doesn't hurt, it doesn't sting, and it definitely, for me, soothed the pain that I had. A little goes a long way. So it's an all natural product as well, which made me feel a lot better about using it. There's like no chemicals or anything in it. And as I say, it was recommended to me by a health professional, and I'm so glad I started to use it. It's my number one, which is why it's the first thing on my video. This product is designed for wounds. As I say, I think it would be perfectly fine to use on a cesarean scar as well as a tear or an episiotomy. But as I've said, please do your own research and check that you're happy to do that, or check with your doctor. But it is designed for wounds and burns and cuts and things like that. So I think this is a great product for vaginal tears and cesarean scars. So my next product is actually something designed just to make life a bit easier. And again, I think this goes for any type of birth that you have, because this is something to make weeing easier. And whether you've had a vaginal birth where everything's sore and it's quite hard, or I found it very difficult to sit down in the toilet and stand up again. It stung to wee because the wee stung my stitches. But similarly, if you've had a cesarean, obviously movement's difficult. So this is a product that I was actually given in hospital, because they ask you to provide a wee sample before you go, or before you're released, to make sure that you can go to the toilet and you can wee, and to measure how much you're weeing. And when I got home after a few days of really struggling to go to the toilet and it hurting and everything, I said to Johnny, oh, I wish I had that product because it would make it easier. So he jumped on Amazon, and next thing I knew, he had ordered me a ton of these. So this is literally just a cardboard wee bowl. And basically why this helped so much was because I didn't have to get down on the toilet and stand back up. I just literally stood up and held this under me and weed standing up. It helped my stitches because my wee wasn't dripping onto my stitches, and it was just easier, as I say, to not have to sit down and get up again. So I literally probably only used these for a maximum of 2 weeks. But for those 2 weeks that everything hurt, these made a huge difference. and obviously you just throw them away after each use. This was a huge recommendation just to make life easier and less painful. So, weeing bowl is my next essential product for your postnatal recovery. Moving swiftly on, and in the same sort of theme, is a stool. So I use this for two things. One, I really struggled to climb in and out of the bath after giving birth. I really underestimated how much my whole body would be impacted. So all of my muscles hurt. It was a real struggle to climb in and out of the bath or up and down the stairs. So I got this stool to just give me that boost to get into the shower. I also used it when going for a poo, because if you use something like this to elevate your legs, it really helps. It helps you be in the right position to go to the toilet, so it just relieves the pressure there. I don't want to go into all the details around what it feels like, but trust me, going to the toilet after, having trauma in that area is painful. It's not pleasant. And using a stool to get you into the right position does really help. It doesn't take all the pain away, but it definitely helps. So this is my next product that is essential for your postnatal recovery. My next product is from the My Expert Midwife range. So if you've heard of Spritz for Bits, it's the same company. This isn't Spritz for Bits, and Spritz for Bits isn't in my video because I actually never used it. But this is something that I used actually about 8 weeks postpartum. So a lot of people debate whether it's better to have baths or showers after giving birth. A lot of people recommend salt baths to help promote healing, but other people say that your stitches can dissolve in the salt water. I don't know what's correct. I didn't bath, I just showered for about 8 weeks. But once my episiotomy had healed, and as I say, my tear took ages, and I was kind of at that point where my stitches were long gone by 8 weeks, but I still had an open wound. I decided to try a bath, and I did order the My Expert Midwife Soak for Bits. But it has tea tree, arnica, bergamot and calendula. Definitely didn't pronounce that right. Basically lots of sort of natural things that promote healing. You might have read a lot about arnica. People recommend arnica tablets for bruising and things. Again, I didn't try that, but I did try these. And it was just honestly nice. I can't say whether it did anything particularly to promote healing, but I definitely felt soothed after my baths with this. So I thought it was worth including, and it's natural, it's developed for that area, because I was very wary about just sort of ordering tea tree oil or regular bath salts, and that's why I went for this. So My Expert with Midwife Soak for Bits, I would recommend for a nice relaxing bath, maybe a few weeks after your birth. So the next product I'm going to talk about is definitely one that you should have seen if you've been doing any reading about postnatal products that you might need. They're designed after you're giving birth to help soothe the area and keep it clean. So basically you fill the bottle with warm water from the tap, and then it's actually designed to be used when you wee. So this sort of goes down, you hold it into the toilet bowl and it squirts the water up as you wee, and that way it helps to dilute your wee so that it doesn't sting when it hits your stitches, and it also helps to sort of keep the area clean, which obviously you want to do. I actually didn't use it that way because I just really struggled to get it in the right position in the toilet, and I actually used this after I went to the toilet. So I would actually climb into the bath and then just use it so that the water didn't obviously go everywhere. I stood in the bath and used it just to flush out the area, to keep it clean, because obviously you want to keep your tears and episiotomies and stitches clean. So after I'd been to the toilet, that's what I would do. So I really recommend it for that. As I say, I didn't use it to soothe sort of weeing, but I had my own technique for that, which was using the weeing bowl that I already showed you. So while it really hurt to wee, I used the weeing bowl. I also would sit forward on the toilet. So if you sit down and you lean as far forward as you can, that actually stops the wee running onto your stitches as well. So there's an extra tip. But my next product that I would definitely recommend for postnatal recovery is the Peri bottle, because it's fantastic for helping you to keep clean, and that's really, really important in the first few weeks after giving birth if you have any tears or stitches. So the next product I want to share is a giant comfy cushion. It's as simple as that, but it's easily overlooked. So when I first came home from the hospital, and for weeks and weeks afterwards, this cushion was my best friend. I had it on the sofa, I had it if I had to go in the car, I even took it to a restaurant for my first meal out. And again, like, I expected to be sore for maybe a couple of weeks, but it lasted a lot longer than that, and you just need something comfortable to sit on. Don't worry about the embarrassment. Like, I did feel pretty silly carrying this across a restaurant, but at the end of the day, sitting on hard seats, which most places are now, is just a massive no-no if you've got stitches. And I'm assuming even if you haven't had stitches or an episiotomy, the area is still going to be bruised and sore. So a big comfy cushion is your best friend. So that is why it is my next item on your postnatal recovery essentials list. So the next item on the list is big knickers. So people go for different options here, but basically you're going to want something that's really comfortable, that you're not bothered about ruining, because obviously you bleed a lot after giving birth. So there are two main options. One is just normal knickers, but big ones. These were the biggest I could find, just black cotton knickers. Obviously just after giving birth, like, you still have your baby belly, and it doesn't really go down much, and you want something that's going to just be as comfortable as possible. So I literally went for the biggest pair of plain black knickers I could find, and that is what I used with a maternity pad. However, some people do like to go for the disposable underwear. So this is actually tenner disposable pants, but a lot of people use the Always Discreet Boutique, which I'm pretty sure are very similar. It's just a sort of stretchy material, and it does have sort of an inbuilt pad. See, they're actually designed as incontinence pants, and I got them. The reason I have these is because for a while I was worried about sort of continency issues, and going out and about, I just wanted the extra reassurance temporarily in the form of incontinence pants. So that is why I have these, but I didn't use these after giving birth. The reason being actually is that I read that they can irritate your skin, because obviously they're not maternity pads, they're not designed for that, and the area is very sensitive after giving birth. So I decided to stick with regular knickers, so big knickers and maternity pants. The other option alongside regular knickers or sort of the incontinence type pants are these disposable pants. They don't have anything in them, so you have to add your own pants. But obviously they're designed to just throw away. So they're stretchy, comfortable and disposable. But that is a more expensive option. But they're sort of the three typical options. You've got your disposable pants without pads. You've got your Always Discreet Boutique or Tenor Lady sort of incontinence disposable pants. And then you've got regular knickers, which you put your maternity pads in. Whichever option you go for, you are going to need one, obviously, to deal with the postpartum bleeding. So just maybe try a few different things and see what works for you. And following on from your maternity knickers are maternity pads. So obviously you're going to need something to deal with the bleeding. As I say, I used regular knickers with maternity pads. The ones that I used to begin with were the My Little Star New Mum maternity towels. These are exclusively from Superdrug, and they're just a long, thick towel. To be honest, these were really soft and comfortable, and they didn't irritate my skin. They are maternity, so they're, you know, fragrance free. And I got on really well with them. I found the absorbency good, and I was happy with them. But I do have another option to show you, and that is only because I suddenly just couldn't find these in Superdrug. They always seem to be sold out. So I moved on to these Lilette's pads, which actually were also really good. And that is because they are really long, they really fold out, and they also fold out at the back with wings, so you get sort of an extra coverage at the back. And I thought that was really great for security, because obviously often the blood sort of flows to the back, and that's where you can sort of potentially get leaks. So I would actually really recommend the Lilettes and the Superdrug maternity pads, but both are maternity, fragrance free, thick, soft, super absorbent pads, and they're just a given that you're going to need them to get through sort of the first 4 to 6 weeks while you've got your postpartum bleeding. The next item is something which you may well have from pregnancy. I would definitely recommend it for pregnancy. I lived with this item. I couldn't have slept without it throughout my pregnancy, and as it turns out I needed it for about another 7 weeks after giving birth, and that is my massive pregnancy pillow. So this is a huge, the size of my body basically, pillow, which I found invaluable after giving birth because I found that I couldn't put my legs together very comfortably, and actually needed something between them. So in bed I would lie with my legs hugging the cushion, and it would just stop the pressure of my legs going together, and again just all the bruising and that area being sore, and this relieved that. And yeah, I had it for a good 7 weeks at least after giving birth. I couldn't wait to get back to lying in bed on my back without this when I was giving birth, and then little did I know how long I'd rely on it after giving birth, but it was definitely invaluable for keeping me comfortable and helping me sleep at night while the area was sore. So the final thing I'm going to talk about in my postnatal recovery essentials list is actually the NHS's Squeezy app. And this app is designed to help you do your pelvic floor exercises. And I cannot stress enough how important pelvic floor exercises are before giving birth and especially after. I think we're all guilty of not really taking them seriously before giving birth. And then it was after giving birth when I realised how much my pelvic floor was impacted and I was having continency issues, and I realised how important pelvic floor exercises were. This app was first recommended to me by my midwives, and then it was also recommended to me by my women's health physio who I've been seeing, and she actually set my sort of daily exercises on there. But you can just download it. It is $3.99, but I really think it's worth it. It helps you to, well, it reminds you to do your exercises. It has recommended settings. As I say, if you see a health professional, they can personalise that to you and tailor your sessions to build up your strength. But it does have default settings and recommendations, and it reminds you throughout the day as well to help you do that. While I've been doing my pelvic floor exercises, I have seen a huge difference. It's not just helping your pelvic floor in terms of like weak bladders or things. It also helps to promote healing in the area because you get increased blood flow when you do your pelvic floors, and that is why the midwife recommended it to me originally. So the Squeezy app, I think, is an essential for your postnatal recovery to help get you back to feeling like safe and secure with a strong pelvic floor. So those were my 10 essential products to help you with your postnatal healing. Some of them are actual products to promote healing, some are to help you just get through, and some are essentials, obviously, for things like postnatal bleeding. I really hope that this has been helpful. Please let me know in the comments or send me a message if anything's particularly helped. I am going to do a separate video about my sort of postnatal healing journey because I know that's a very specific area of interest to someone if you are struggling with healing. So I will do that video separately. I'll also do one about all the common things that we know are going to happen postnatally, so bleeding, sort of your breast milk, uterus contractions, night sweats, all the things that I knew to expect, and sort of how I dealt with those and if they were as bad or not as bad as I expected. And I'll do the one about my own postnatal journey and how I struggled with my term, my episiotomy. But that is for a niche audience, so I'll save that for a separate video. But I really hope you've enjoyed this. I really hope at least some of the tips will help you with your postnatal recovery. And if you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. I just wanted to add that I will link all of the products that I've talked about in this video in the description down below so you can check them out. Please also add your own recommendations for any essential postnatal recovery products in the comments below so that it can help anyone else who's watching this video.